Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. I've done a couple of videos and I've never uploaded them, so I'm just going to do this video and kind of explain all of it. Was on a workcation for about a month and a half or so. Got back from that about 2 weeks ago. Been busy, being lazy and working on work stuff instead of hobby stuff, but this weekend's been pretty productive. While I was gone, I realized that all of the work I had done on all these leading edge slat ribs was completely wrong. Hi, buddy. So got back, and first thing on the agenda was to figure out exactly what I had screwed up with on those. I got those figured out. What I had actually ended up doing is, this is one of the old pieces. You can see how tall that is. It's about 1/4 inch too tall, and then the length wasn't correct. So when you stuck it in here, it didn't hit the spar, and then the further down you got, the further away these got from the spar. And so I sat there and spent about 2 nights completely redrawing all of these, and all of these parts that I had cut ready to install. Trash can. So sat there and redid that, which when I had to redo those, that involved redoing everything. So I had to do the slider parts, I had to do the end plates, I had to redo the actual the parts that slide inside here that attach to the slat. I mean, the whole leading edge slat system basically got a redesign, which kind of worked out fairly well because I made it better and a heck of a lot less parts count. Your cup's right there, buddy. Okay, we'll go get you some more Kool-Aid. So, and then I got the little one out here with me all the time too, which makes things go a little slower. I think the last video I made, pretty much all the major structure in this thing was done, and I've literally spent the past week, 5 to 6 days, getting all these slat parts done, getting the last of the torque tube parts done, because all those arms that I cut previously were too long for back here. They would actually, when you got out here towards this one furthest to the tip, it was actually about to hit the flap leading edge, and then out here at the servo it was too tall, so it would have been sticking out of the, it'd been sticking above the spar, so you'd had to put a hole in the spar or a big chunk out of the top of it, which I didn't like. So I shortened all those 1/4 inch. They're still a little long, but I think they'll be fine. The thing that sucks the most is I still have to recut a new set, because the material I had for this shifted on me when I was cutting them, and some of the holes are a little off, and they got some thin spots in the material. And then the holes for the servo pins are too big for the servo pin. They're 1/16 of an inch, and most servo pins are only around 30, 40 thousandths at most. So that's where that went. Over here at the wing root, today I sat here and added a few extra parts to it. Get the camera where it needs to go. You remember on the original one how the spar kind of wide off and kind of held that in place? I kind of like that, but at the same time I don't, because it's more parts and it's kind of a pain in the butt to put together. So what I did is, this spar comes into the bracket, and then I've got this actual sub spar that I'll just butt right up to it. I'll get high sawed in place, and that'll kind of tie this spar into the wing root, and then I'll be a big glob of gloop right here holding that in place. Now the little ply plate here, this is it's 1/8 inch light ply that has a layer of carbon fiber on both sides, and then there's the blind nuts are encapsulated in some epoxy, so the pivot bracket can get bolted to that. So that pretty much finishes all the main spar structure. I just showed you guys all of the leading edge slat stuff, but the cool thing that I got done literally just a few minutes ago is the little torque tubes here for the spoilers and the slats. Originally I had wanted to run like 1 servo per panel, but that's just insane. And then same thing for the leading edge slats. I was going to run 2 servos, one for the inboard and one for the outboard. But it's just more weight in the wings. It's more weight in the airplane. It'd be 2 extra servos that I don't need per wing, so it'd be an extra 4 servos. So these little carbon fiber tubes I had, I ordered these up, and they're woven carbon tubes, so they're designed not to twist on you. And for the length of these things, what little twist you do get, it's maybe a 1/16 of an inch over 20 inches, which is plenty stiff enough for this stuff. Let me put the little guy down, and we'll move the camera around, and I'll show you guys how it's going to work. Here's the leading edge one. Let me just come over here and zoom out just a little bit. So basically you got 2 arms on the leading edge slats. Again, I got to recut these. You got this one here that I have a push rod that comes and attaches to the arm on the slat. And then you have the one here for the servo, which goes through a little hole in the front spar, and then your servo mount right here. The servo for these things is only going to be like a JR 9411, so something around 120 to 140 ounces of torque. You don't need a whole bunch. Oh, bless you, buddy. So basically, push rod will come through the hole to this arm, and it'll push it forward, and you see it pushes the arms forward as well. So basically what you do is you get 3/4 of an inch of deflection, which will basically move the slat 3/4 of an inch forward of the wing, which is probably way more than you need. You probably only need about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch of deflection. So it gives some room for adjustment. Since all of this stuff is going to be encapsulated in the leading edge, these are actually going to get doubled up. So I'm going to have 2 of them per attachment. There's going to be a heavy duty Dubro 440 ball link, and the push rod will already be in place. And this will be pushed all the way back, and that push rod is going to come right here to the edge, and it's going to be kind of wedged in there. So when the wing comes out of the mold, you basically just cut the little area out for the push rod on both ends. You come in here, which I'll also have the push rod here already in place with the clevis and all that stuff, and the locking pin and all that. Again, it'll be extra long. So you'll sit here and you just grab the push rod, push rod forward. It'll push these forward through the holes you cut, and then you can sit there and you can trim them to the length you need. It won't be a lot of trimming, but you can trim them so you can get the deflection of the slat that you want.
Daddy.
What, buddy? Here, stand right here for a second. I'm gonna zoom you guys out, and then we'll reposition the camera back here on the trailing edge. Watch out for the motion sickness on the floor. So basically, we kind of have the same thing back here on the spoilers. These arms, they're just tack glued in place right now for just this video demonstration purposes. Oh, buddy, as a little guy goes and tries to take over the camera. Like I said, they're just tack glued for this video, so you guys can kind of see what my mind is thinking. There's 1 arm per spoiler panel. So you got the 2 spoiler panels there, 1 here, then you got another one here. You see you got little donuts here. These donuts keep it from moving side to side. There's 1 donut here. There's another donut there. So there's a little bit of wiggle room in there because I wanted it that way. And again, the donuts are just tack glued in place for now. The donuts can actually get kind of glued in. For the kit versions of these arms aren't going to be in place, and the donuts are not either. The tube's just going to be there, and it's going to be free floating.
Daddy,
which you can do.
Picture, Daddy. Daddy, get the picture. I mean,
I'll get a picture of you later, buddy. This tube will go all the way to that hinge standoff there, and it allows you to slide this arm in the donut, and then you can slide the tube all the way back this way to that stop. And you put that arm on, these 2 arms on, and that donut, and then you slide it back to where you need it. And you put that arm on, then you put them in position, because your spoiler hinges dictate where these go. So they could be slightly different on every airplane for each person, depending on how you hinge it. That's why they're not going to be attached. Then you glue them all in there, and you're probably wondering, well, how do you get this thing glued in place with them all in the same position? Well, that's the beauty of my craziness. With this tube supported, all you have to do is put your arms on, stop Thomas. Put the hinges, or put the arms to where they touch the bottom wing skin, and then tack glue them, and then put a little bit of high sol on there, and you're good to go. And then your arm here, you just want to get it as far forward as you can, so it's slightly, it's above the center line of the push rod. So basically put a clevis on there, push it all the way forward your push rod till it stops, tack glue it, high sol it, and then you're good. So basically, again, the push rod goes through the rear spar. Servo is mounted right here, and as it pulls back, it just moves the arms, and then it sits there, and there will be 2 little interconnect linkages per spoiler panel to sit there and push the spoilers up and down. So it's pretty simple. Again, it's just all kind of crazy things I've been going through my head on how to get this stuff to work. This wing is essentially done other than recutting these arms. The arms back here are actually fine. It's just the slat arms that are a little off. And I ran out of material, so I can't recut those just yet. But this left wing panel is essentially ready to get closed up once I get these little arms to go. All the design work's done. All of the head scratching's done. All the sleepless nights are done. So this one's done. I'm gonna put the top back on tonight. Then I'm gonna pull out that wing right there, the right one, and then I'm gonna sit there and relay out all this internal structure. And then hopefully by the time all that internal stuff on the right wing's done and organized and tack glued together, I'll have that G10, and I can cut out the slat arms, and I can get both of these wing panels closed up. So if I get these both closed up, I'll probably have this thing at Florida Jets this year. I don't think I'll be flying, but I'll be out there hanging out with some buddies and showing this thing off. Hopefully I can get some attention from somebody. Maybe somebody's crazy enough to want a prototype. Anyways, that's what I've been doing for the past week. Other than the huge box of balsa wood, all that stuff, that's like $1,000 in balsa wood and foam cores for stabilizers. That's for those flying pancakes. Some whole lot of stuff to do. I gotta ship all that stuff out. And I got a Bandit coming this week that I gotta get ready for Florida Jets. But it's gonna be either the Bandit or the Tomcat for Florida Jets. I'm not sure. Just depends on how much work the Bandit needs. And that fuselage, yeah, I gotta do a lot of body work on that before I take it to Florida Jets. So I might not even get this thing done in time, because it's just a lot of work, guys, and it's kind of disgusting me, really, to be honest. But anyways, that's the F-14 project for this week. Just kidding. Maybe when I get that other wing, I'll sit there and start, well, it's really not a whole lot I can show you guys that I haven't already done on this one. But yeah, so when I get ready to close them, I'll pop in the video camera. When I get ready to start doing some body work on this fuselage, I'll pop in the video camera. Hopefully it'll be nice this week, so when I get home from work, I can bust out the body filler, open the garage door, and go out in the middle of the yard and start chopping this thing up. Just kidding. Sit there and start filling in some of these little divots and get this seam line taken care of a little bit. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of effort into this fuselage, making it look perfect, because it's not perfect in my eyes. So it'll be good for a prototype to kind of make sure it flies and figure out all the ins and outs on how to get this stuff working. Just like these wings. The wings are actually really nice. If the wings turn out as good as I think they're going to be, and the fuselage turns out crap, I'll fly the good wings on the fuselage, and then I'm going to lay up a new fuselage for these wing panels, or just lay up a whole second airplane, or do a whole lot of body work. You never know. So anyways, that's the shop, that's the wings, there's the fuselage. So I'll see you guys back here in the shop next time. See ya.